You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
If you work in product design or software or really any creative field right now, you know the feeling, the pace is just, it's overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. New tools, new AI models, new philosophies. It feels like it all lands on your desk at once.
And you can never quite feel like you're caught up.
It's not just the tools either. It's this sense that the ground is fundamentally shifting under the entire industry.
Right. The rules you learned last year, they just don't apply anymore.
Not at all.
Exactly. So our mission today is to try and cut through all that material you've gathered and pull out what really matters for product and design right now. As the host of The Vocal Technologist, you know this intersection of human-centered design and, well, cutting-edge machinery is a world I love to unpack.
And it's a good time for it. We're in this moment of intense tension.
Okay, let's unpack that.
On one hand, you have the raw speed of generative AI. It's making things so fast, it's almost breaking the economics of creators.
And on the other,
the industry is having a bit of an identity crisis, asking these huge questions about quality, human value, authenticity. Where does that all fit in?
let's start with that raw speed because the AI video race has had a monumental shakeup recently.
It really has. I mean, OpenAI's Sora 2 Pro, which felt completely revolutionary when it launched.
It did.
It's already been pushed down the rankings.
Wow, already. By who?
Runway. Their new Gen 4.5 model just officially topped the Video Arena leaderboard. It beat out competitors like Google VO3.
So what's the big deal? Is it just a better score?
Well, what's critical here isn't just the score, it's why it won. This model, it's running on NVIDIA's new Blackwell architecture, and it's excelling at physical accuracy, surface detail.
Ah, so it's not just making pretty pictures, it's actually getting the physics right.
Exactly. It's learning how objects in a scene should actually behave and look. That's kind of the holy grail for realistic video.
So while the big names are in this arms race for realism, are there other players taking a different approach?
For sure. And this is interesting. While they fight over hyper-realistic short clips, you have others emerging who are focused purely on utility for big organizations.
Like who?
Take a look at Craft Story. It was founded by the creators of OpenCV.
OpenCV, the computer vision library. Okay, that's a serious pedigree.
It is. So Craft Story is focusing on longer, human-centric videos, up to 5 minutes.
Which is an eternity in AI video.
Right. And their customers are all enterprise. Think training videos, product demos, that kind of thing.
And what's their secret sauce?
It's the data. Their models are trained on proprietary, high-quality, licensed footage, not just scraped from the internet. They're building a business on verifiable quality, not just speed.
That distinction, proprietary data versus scraping, that immediately brings up the whole ethical debate, doesn't it? Especially now that these tools are becoming less of a novelty and more
Integrated into the core workflow.
Exactly.
And that integration is the real tectonic shift. I mean, look at Google integrating Gemini 3 directly into Figma.
So what does that look like in practice?
It means a designer can ask the AI to generate style variations or tweak a composition, but it does it while maintaining perfect brand consistency. The palette, the texture. The AI becomes the guardian of the design system.
And it's not just guarding, it's creating too, right? I heard Gemini can generate full layouts, even code, from a text prompt.
It can. Full layouts, components, even the raw HTML and CSS right inside Figma Make.
It instantly lowers the barrier for beginners. But for pros, it changes the job description entirely.
The implication is profound. The designer's core skill is shifting almost overnight from manual creation to what? Advanced curation, critical review, prompt engineering.
Yeah, if the AI can churn out 80% of the work, the real human value is in directing that machine and then perfecting that final 20%.
Then that power isn't just in design tools. Think about Google's Workspace Studio. It's a no-code automation tool.
So you can build your own little AI agent.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
You build a Gemini-powered agent to handle complex tasks across Gmail, Chat, Drive, all your apps. It becomes this tireless, highly contextual office manager.
But this all comes back to that ethical price tag. We see attempts at doing this right, like that partnership between Warner Music Group and Stability AI.
Right. Trying to build responsible music tools trained only on licensed data.
It's proactive, for sure. They're trying to set up a compensated model from the get-go.
They are.
But isn't there a risk that this just reinforces the power of the big players? It secures the value of their licensed content. But what about independent artists? It feels less like a shield for all creators and more like a a land grab for data licensing.
That is precisely the tension. And it's a sharp contrast to what's being called the disposable artist crisis.
Where the foundational AI models are built
On vast amounts of creative labor that was never compensated. And the legal landscape is, to put it mildly, ambiguous. Copyright has always protected fixed, human-authored expression.
So the courts are scrambling to figure out where the AI output ends and where the human expression begins.
Exactly. The general take right now is that just writing a prompt doesn't make you an author. You need to make significant human edits to the output for it to be protectable.
This erosion of value, it must be leaving so many creators feeling just completely replaceable.
It is. It's creating this sort of creative underclass whose work feeds the machine but gets no return.
And that conversation about value is so important. This AI speed is forcing us all to rethink what value even means, which I think is a perfect pivot from the tech itself to the philosophy of how teams work. We have to talk about the difference between speed and true velocity.
That is the crucial pivot for any leader today. So many product teams prioritize sheer speed, just movement,
Yeah.
but they ship quickly, often in completely the wrong direction.
That's the hidden cost of shipping too fast. You prioritize moving fast without any clarity, without answering that basic question: what problem am I solving and for whom?
And what you get is a mess, designed by committee or whoever shouts the loudest, massive maintenance debt. And critically, the craft just weakens because nobody has time to do things well.
Whereas velocity, that's movement with direction. It requires that pause for alignment.
Right. And you see this problem crop up in metrics all the time. Leaders want designers to prove their business impact, but the traditional metrics can be really misleading.
Give me an example.
Okay, design system teams. They love to measure success by component adoption rates.
Sure, how many teams are using our button?
Exactly. They see high adoption and they declare victory. But that high adoption can easily mask a terrible user experience. Everyone might be using the button, but maybe that button leads users to a dead end. The numbers look great, but the quality is awful.
So we need to connect the quantitative data directly to the qualitative design choices.
We have to. And there's some really innovative solutions emerging, like the Model Context Protocol, MCP.
Okay, break that down.
It's a protocol that lets you connect product analytics tools like PostHog directly into your Figma files.
So instead of digging through spreadsheets,
Right. Instead of weeks of manual analysis, you can query real user behavior, where people are clicking, where they're dropping off, and get that feedback right inside the design file. In seconds.
that turns a month-long process into an immediate feedback loop.
It's a game changer for keeping up.
And speaking of context, it's not just about the data, it's about documenting why we made the decisions we made.
That's where architecture decision records, or ADRs, are so vital. Design tokens tell you what the decision was, the hex code, the font size. An ADR captures the why.
For example,
documenting why your team chose to use emphasis descriptors, like strong, standard, subtle, instead of old hierarchy terms like primary and secondary.
why does that matter beyond just onboarding a new designer?
Future-proofing. Because when you start training your own LLMs on your design system, they need that principle-based context. They need the why. Without it, the AI will just make technical changes that slowly erode the whole conceptual integrity of your product.
Integrity is also what we're after with accessibility. But there's a big warning sign out there about just, checking the box.
Oh, we have to stress this. WCAG 2.2 AA compliance. That is a baseline. It is the bare minimum for legal compliance. It is not a guarantee of usability for everyone.
So the test ensures people with impairments aren't disadvantaged, but it doesn't mean anyone is having a good experience.
Precisely. You can have a link that technically passes a color contrast test, but is totally indistinguishable from the text around it.
Or a one-pixel font that passes contrast, but no human can actually read.
You got it. It just proves that the technical solution is always secondary to human-centered, empathetic thinking.
And that brings us perfectly to the human element, this kind of identity crisis that's hitting modern design. As everything gets faster and more optimized, the very leadership structures that define product design are shifting.
We're seeing huge corporate moves. Look at Alan Dye, Apple's longtime human interface design chief.
A foundational voice at Apple for years.
And he just left. He's gone to Meta to head up a new hardware, software, and AI studio.
That's not just a career move, that's a signal. The top talent is chasing the ground where AI and hardware merge.
It is. That's the next frontier. And you see institutions trying to recenter themselves, too. AIGANY just did a major rebrand, their first in 20 years.
And it was very intentional.
Very. They used negative space to create a town square shape in their logo. The whole idea is to position themselves as a civic hub, a place for community and open dialogue. It's a direct response to the digital isolation we're all feeling.
Yet at the same time, the digital aesthetic itself keeps pushing towards this sleek minimalism, sometimes at the cost of personality. I'm thinking of Apple's liquid glass aesthetic.
Oh yeah, the font book.
The single sans serif, people were not happy.
No. And critics say it's not just about removing personality. It actually hurts usability because you're stripping away context. It's this bigger dilemma for the whole industry. Where is the line between elegant minimalism and just boring, homogeneous sameness?
That is the central question right now. Why does so much digital design look identical?
It's a perfect storm, really. You have utility frameworks like Tailwind. You have everyone using the same off-the-shelf design system templates. And critically, you have this industry-wide shift away from craft and towards purely metrics-driven development.
When efficiency is the only goal, the easiest path is the template.
And the designer's unique voice gets lost. The path of least resistance takes over.
So if homogeneity is the default state, how do designers fight back? How do you reclaim that voice?
They have to seek out exposure.
Exposure to what?
To everyone but other designers. The most effective designers in this new world aren't the ones just talking to each other about pixels. They're the ones talking to product managers, to engineers, to sales, and most of all, to customers.
They have to get context that pure design skill can't give them.
Exactly. If you want to build something unique, you have to absorb diverse perspectives.
And that need to reconnect with the real human world is also showing up in these grassroots movements against burnout and loneliness among remote workers.
It's a massive issue. Some surveys show it affects up to 90% of remote freelancers. It's costing billions.
So since the digital tools are part of the problem,
The response has to be physical, authentic. We're seeing co-working collectives like Billy No Mates or Creative Booms, the studio pop up just to foster genuine, informal human connection.
it reminds me of that concept of rewilding your creative practice.
It's a beautiful metaphor. Drawing lessons from gardening, something that's inherently slow and messy, to ground a digital creative life.
So embrace the ecosystem, experiment, except that progress isn't always a straight line.
It's about fighting that instinct to only prioritize digital speed.
So we've really covered three big shifts today.
Yeah.
First, the escalating power of AI with players like Runway and how that's changing the designer's job into one of curation.
Then the mandate for velocity over speed, for clarity, for genuine usability, using things like contextual data and ADRs.
And finally, this human pushback against sameness, this demand for real connection and broader perspective.
And that tension between the sleek aesthetic and real-world utility, it always comes down to where things fail. I mean, look at the story of the iPhone Air.
Oh, right, super sleek design.
Incredibly sleek, but it had a tiny battery, one camera, mono speakers. It failed. The sales were so bad that competitors like Xiaomi and Samsung actually froze their own ultra-thin phone projects.
It's a powerful lesson. Practicality will always eventually override pure visual appeal if a product just doesn't work in your life.
It will.
And now we have these sophisticated new tools like digital twin modeling that let UX designers predict user behavior before a problem even exists.
This raises an important question.
Go.
If all our design frameworks and templates are making everything look aesthetically the same, and our new tools can predict user behavior with perfect precision, are we just heading toward a perfectly optimized, profoundly efficient, but ultimately boring user experience? What knowledge beyond the metrics will define the unique voice of successful products in this next era? That's something for you to mull over.
Spoken Tech for your ears.